That's what I think will happen.
That's awesome. I also love that she said, in the United States of America, in modern contemporary United States of America, in the year 2024 of our holy Lord, this is a genuine belief held by this person. That's crazy. But anyway, let's take a look. These Trump supporters say U.S. isn't a democracy and they're okay with it.
Author who's made describing how democracies fail her specialty. More from CNN's Donie O'Sullivan.
What happens if Trump loses?
I don't see him losing.
I don't think he lost the last election, to be honest.
Do you think he's going to win?
Yes. Without a doubt.
No doubt.
What if he doesn't this time? What happens to the country?
We're in trouble.
We're in big trouble.
Done. If Biden talks about democracy, saving democracy, they're the ones that are killing democracy.
Obviously, there's a lot of criticisms of Trump that he is bad for democracy, that he's bad for American democracy.
Okay,
We
so
are a republic.
We're a republic.
We are
We're
not a
representative
democracy.
republic. We're not a democracy.
One thing we've been hearing at Trump rallies like this over the past few months is that America isn't really a democracy.
America's not a democracy, it's a republic.
It's not a democracy. Okay, democracy is actually not as good as you think it is.
But for centuries, America has celebrated its democracy.
Democracy is worth dying for. Democracy remains the definition of political legitimacy.
But some Republicans and pro-Trump media are pushing the idea that America is not a democracy.
The United States of America is not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic.
The United States of America is not a democracy. You don't want to be in a democracy.
We are not a democracy. We are a republic.
Is America a democracy?
America is a democracy. It was founded as a democracy.
I've heard a lot of conspiracy theories. I hear a lot of things out on the road. But to hear Americans, people who would describe themselves as patriots, say that America is not a democracy, that stopped me in my tracks.
You are hearing people say America is not a democracy because there are people around Trump who want them to be saying that, who've been planting that narrative.
Is America a democracy?
Yes.
No, I don't. I think
Well, not
we're
right
a
now.
republic.
Dude, people say, Republicans have been saying we're not a real democracy. We're a democratic republic. We're a republic always, dude. That's not new. What matters more is what they mean. And always, they've also technically said that because they are fascist. They were fascist. They still are fascist. That's it. This is not like a Trump phenomenon at all. We're a constitutional republic. They did not say democratic republic not once in this vid. It doesn't matter. It still means democracy. And I'm not talking about democracy. I'm talking about democracy from a liberal sense, okay? It's not like, it's still the same. It's still democracy, as in majority rule, okay? When you think of like having the majority of people have their wishes met, that's what democracy is in the most reductive terms. A constitutional republic, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, is still under the literal different variants of democracy. Oh, sorry, we're not a democracy. We're a parliament. Like, what the fuck do you mean? It doesn't matter. I mean, parliament is just one structure, but, you know, it's all semantics. Now, obviously, as a leftist myself, I don't think that America is a real democracy. I always say it's a theoretical democracy because a real democracy would genuinely change course when the majority of Americans feel upset about a certain thing, right? It is not a real democracy because that would be a proletarian democracy. It is simply a bourgeois democracy, as in an oligarchy. What is this? Matt Christman summing up the summing up the Republicans' game as post-Trump very well. Dems are the normie party. GOP tried to flip that by associating them with crime and immigrants and gender sickos. But the stringency of their case made them look kind of crazy to people who are saturated by media but not over-torqued by media, aka normies. This is problematic for people who are obsessed with defining themselves in countercultural opposition to the normie mainstream on behalf of some imagined heartland normal American. But Democrats are still doomed in the long run because everyone is getting less normal by the day. Florida is now officially the least normal state. Yep, that's true. This is an old post from Matt, and it's right. It's still right. That is my assessment on the matter as well. What I basically described to you is quite similar to what he's saying, which is that it all kind of depends. If enough Americans get brain broken with the gender sicko shit, then we're totally okay? Like beyond. If most Americans busy themselves with normal and still look at like the abortion clinic warriors as like weirdos who are gross and sweaty and unwashed and don't want to be associated with them, which is exactly what the like trans panic guys are like to the broadest majority of people, then it's, you know, then it's fine. Not great, but at least better than what it would be like if Fox News's propaganda actually converted the educated racist white liberals in the suburbs into being gender sickos themselves, because then you have Florida.
But we're a republic.
What's the difference?
I feel like democracy. Let me think this through. That it's government control. I don't see freedom in democracy. I see freedom in the republic.
Honestly, the word democracy and the word republic have often been used interchangeably. There isn't a meaningful difference between them.
So much of the warnings and criticism about Trump is that he is a threat to democracy, that he is anti-democratic.
Absolutely. If they can convince people that we don't have a democracy, then it's okay that Trump is attacking democracy, because it doesn't really matter.
So why has democracy become a bad word?
Because it's being used in a way to change the flavor of our country, which is a republic.
These words were used in different ways in the 18th century, and it's true the founders didn't want direct democracy, by which they meant people gathering on the town square. They wanted representative democracy. But I think the reason why this conversation about language has risen now is because there is a part.
Yeah, that was bad. We should be able to say that that was bad, for the record. Like, yeah, they owned slaves. They didn't want women or black people to vote. Like, what are we talking about? They wanted white landowners to vote. Yeah, that was not great, okay? They did some good, right? British Empire, all right? But that was bad. We don't have to constantly posture towards that as though, like, that was actually pretty good. I hate this. It's weird. It's like a weird way to basically say, like, no, that stuff is good, actually, and liberals are defending it. Okay, well, that kind of thinking lends itself so perfectly to these people saying, well, we don't have a real democracy. We never did, and their founders didn't want it. I don't give a what the founders wanted. They're not gods. What do you mean that's what the founders did? The founders had it all figured out. That's why I say, like, America's religion is capitalism. Its constitution is the Bible. And we just have this mythology, like, and the framers are the prophets. It's very odd the way people perceive our founding documents and the way they look at our founders in general.
Part of the Republican Party that would like to rule as a minority, and they need an excuse for why that's okay. And so they have begun to say, we're not a democracy, we're a republic. And it's not 100% clear what that means, but I think they mean we want Donald Trump to be able to do whatever he wants.
Some people I've been speaking to at Trump events recently have been saying America is not a democracy, it's a republic.
We've always been a democracy, first of all. I mean, we used to have freedom of speech, freedom of religion. We used to have that too. Now they're picking on the Christians and the Jewish people. I mean, how much more can we take?
Are you concerned if Trump loses?
Yeah.
That there will be another January 6th?
No, I think there will be a civil war. That's what I think will happen.
That's awesome. I also love that she said, in the United States of America, in modern contemporary United States of America, in the year 2024 of our holy Lord, the free speech of Jews and Christians is being restricted. This is a genuine belief held by this person. Unless you mean anti-Zionist Jews and Christians, I don't know what the you're on about, okay? That's crazy. Like, in her mind, it's like, yeah, they're letting Muslims speak too much and not letting Jews and Christians speak. That's awesome. Thank you.
Donie, I mean, this whole democracy republic thing is fascinating. This is the first I've heard of that kind of new thing that they're now pushing. It looks like folks on Fox are pushing it. Is there a reason the people you spoke with think the country isn't a democracy now? I mean,
yeah, look, I mean, Anderson, some of those folks no doubt genuinely believe that and might have believed it for a long time. This isn't necessarily a new talking point. However, we have seen it just revive over the past few months. And really the reason we did this piece was over the past few months, just unprompted, as I was speaking to a lot of Trump supporters, they would bring this very specific line up. And look, this really, it's not a debate, right, about the form of government here. It's not a debate about democracy. Really why this is happening, and you saw it there in that piece on Fox News and elsewhere on conservative and right-wing media, people are trying to convince Trump supporters, others, that America is not a democracy in the first place. And we actually saw, I happen to notice that this seemed to pick up a bit after President Biden's speech in Philadelphia, where he described Trump as a threat to democracy. This is how they seem to be trying to twist language to try and neutralize describing Trump as a threat to democracy, because if America is not a democracy in the first place, then there's nothing to worry about.
Donie Sullivan, thank you very much.
Something similar is happening in Argentina with Milei. There's a new wave focused on manipulating the narrative, and the public believes it. Milei says he's going to destroy the state, and that he loves to be the mold that destroys the state from within. Why shouldn't the Republicans demand that America be like a fascist state that represents not only their interests, but also their interest being like taking over civil liberties of other people? America as a state is already benefiting them and also granting them these wishes regardless. You know what I mean?